Welcome back. Thanks for staying with Newsnight, and we continue our discussion on Madiba's legacy with former public protector Professor Thuli Madonsela and the Nelson Mandela Foundation's Tokyo Sexwale. Now, I just wanted to pick up on the last point that both of you made, where you're talking about the fact that it's now in other people's hands, no longer in Madiba's hands. And the point you made that for instance, where you're coming from just now, people don't see the land issue as the silver bullet, as you put it. And I want to explore, just for a few seconds, the role then that those who were handed over the baton have played or are playing in the vilification of Mandela, how they are making Mandela to be seen to be the evil guy who deprived us of the progress that we need. And I'm saying this on the back of that quote that Kathy, read to us a short while ago, but also something that was disturbing, a story we played yesterday, where an official of one municipality, where they had deprived the community of water, giving them dirty and poisonous water, were yesterday sponsors of that Madiba lecture that took place at UNITRA. Yet these people are failing, our people in very dismal, and dramatic ways.
Well, politics has got its answer and save from politicians. Politics and politicians. Quite more, there's a lot of dishonesty in politics. And of course, there's a lot of corruption of philosophy amongst politicians. And there are good politicians. I don't know the kind I was, but he was once that. Today, because of the failure upon the question of practice after the departure of Madiba from public office, he said it's in our hands. And those who dropped the ball, we've just removed the president, remember, after 10 years of lights switching off in this country. Now, when politicians have dropped the ball, it's very easy and convenient for narrow politicking to look away. Madiba is under assault. At the Mandela Foundation, we're standing up, and I'm glad, over the last 2 days, I'm sure the tales of the people who wish Madiba badly are firmly tucked behind their legs, because they are not standing up to say anything. We are drowning them out, the whole world, because this icon is celebrated everywhere, and the more people it's like they're using this birthday to say, not on your life, not on Madiba. So it's very easy for failed politicians with failed policies around implementation to hide behind the past one. It's him. Or to say nothing, which is even worse, where people who are supposed to be standing up in defense of Nelson Mandela are moving away because somebody will say, but you were in office.
Who are those people?
Well, open your eyes. I'm sure this is a nice conversation where we don't want to be, but give me a chance at a rally, I could say that. But I want to debate. But I'm saying that it's quite tempting for politicians, in order to save their skins, to try to blame the dead. So we're here, steadfast, to make sure that the legacy of Nelson Mandela is defended. That's why at the Mandela Foundation we say, you, because it's now in our hands, be the legacy.
Absolutely. I think we must be honest about Mandela. We must be honest about the fact that, firstly, he really did put us on higher ground. But secondly, he was the captain of both South Africa. He was not the only peddler, There were lots of people. If we were to have a conversation one day, I would ask you to have a conversation here at ENCA with us and a whole lot of the people involved in the draft of the Constitution. It's not true, no fair to say Mandela agreed to this, because it was a group work, it was a negotiations process. He was the captain, but it was all of us. It was all of us.
At every point there was, from the negotiations,
yes,
consultation with every structure of the ANC.
It was
the Constitution has got nothing to do with Cyril and Mandela.
Exactly.
We all consulted on this.
And But it was a group thing. The ANC, even before Mandela became even before Mandela became president of the ANC had a draft. And when I spoke in Lusaka, I even reminded people that that draft was weaker than the draft we ended up with, because the draft that we ended up with was stronger because the Wits group came up with more staff. Professor Goethe, Feroz Kachala, and the people who were leading the group, my team that was doing this. But I'm not saying these things because we were involved. I'm just saying, if we have to honor Madiba's legacy, we should remember that Madiba was a consultative leader. That's number one. But just go back to the point you made, Vuyo, was that with the cards he had, he dealt with them honestly and fully. But he worked with a team. Our current leaders and previous leaders should stop scapegoating. For example, in the last 5 years, Chapter 5 of the Equality Act has never been mentioned by anybody. And that was the part about positive measures in the entire system. Because society is a system, dear colleagues. You can't tinker in the workplace and tinker through BEE and then say the whole society will now become equal, because society is like a body. Everything feeds on each other. If you are being lifted at work, will you be pulled back by education, or you'll be pulled back by poor infrastructure, the water issue that you spoke about. So honestly, it's our time to lead with integrity, but it's also our time as leaders in all levels of society to put our people back on the pedestal of hope. Madiba put people on the pedestal of hope, and if we start blaming him, we're actually undermining the hope that there is, and undermining then people's abilities to lift themselves to the next level.
Very briefly, because we've run out of time, so I'm going to ask that the next answers be short. On the issue of hope, you know, in South Africa, of course, we've had a new president. We hosted him here on ENCA 2 nights ago. So, in terms of the new dawn and Tumamina, is this something that brings real solutions to South Africa, or are we realistically just living off hype because there's been this desperation for hope, but will it produce the results that people expect?
I support and I think the president should be supported and protected around this new dawn. But at the same time, we should ask ourselves, why a new dawn now, when Madiba spoke about the dawn of a new day, and when Thabo said Renaissance, it is because the lights had switched off. The dusk came, and we lived for a long time, 10 years, in midnight. So to avoid repetitions of having a dawn after dawn after dawn, while to support the president, we say that all the risks around this dawn should be looked at, opportunism around the president, narrow ethnicity, that is trying to undermine his efforts, so that the total body politic of South Africans are relied upon by him to say that we see you as our leader, we support that, so that we can avoid another dawn, because the new dawn always comes because, you know, there was a midnight and things were not going very, very well. So once we support that, we should guard against, you know, just following dawns and dawns, because there are new dawns and there are false dawns, and history is replete with those types of examples.
Very briefly.
There is a new dawn, and President Ramaphosa is not the new dawn. He has contributed to the new dawn because he's a new leader that stepped in, and he has reinforced some of the values that this country was built on. In terms of the new democracy, the value of a united South Africa where everyone belongs, the value of integrity and ending corruption. But that new dawn is a dawn that is driven by all of us,
Yes.
working together like spider webs, tying up a lion. So the new dawn is us ending state capture, us ending corruption, all of you playing a role, people like Vuyo who played a role. There was a new dawn in your old organization. I think people should understand that the new dawn has many facets to it, but a new dawn is not a new summer. A new dawn is a new door that has been opened, And it's up to us, as our colleague said, to use that new door that has opened to lead our people forward.